Boxing Truth here. I want to talk a little bit about Manny Pacquiao and how the truth is he's really the true pound for pound king of the sport right now. And even though the recognition is it's going towards Roman Gonzalez's way, Chocolatito, if it's not Manny Pacquiao, I don't mind it being Roman Gonzalez. Considering he's undefeated, he's a 3-division world champion, he's a hell of a fighter. He's also from Nicaragua, where my parents are from. So I'm definitely gonna root for Roman Gonzalez, who's a great fighter. But Manny Pacquiao, to me, in reality, is still the pound for pound king of the sport. But he's not getting that recognition simply because he didn't get the decision to Floyd Mayweather. However, the truth is Manny Pacquiao beat Floyd Mayweather, but a bunch of boxing fans, mainly in the United States and the UK, they were fooled by biased commentating, bullshit punch stats, and by Dave Moretti's scorecard, who pretty much handed in a predetermined scorecard. I'm not going to get into why I thought Manny Pacquiao won the fight. It's been explained in so many videos by the YTBC community, and they all did a good job to point out the errors of the CompuBox numbers. The truth is Mayweather landed less than 100 punches than Pacquiao. I counted myself. Hey, I waited 5 years for that fucking fight, and I wanted the truth on what really went down. And I can see why a lot of people were fooled the first time they watch it. It was impossible to score the fight the first time. You with your family, you with your friends, you're drinking, and there wasn't a lot of action. But as soon as I watched it the second time, I already knew Manny Pacquiao clearly won the fight. Honestly, you gotta really bend over to give Mayweather four rounds even. Mayweather won 3 rounds clearly. He won rounds 1, he won round 5, and he won round 11. The other rounds, very difficult to give it to him because he was running like a bitch. He was scared to death of Manny Pacquiao. You could see it in his face. Even when he tried to take risk in a couple of rounds, he kept getting countered to death. He got beat at his own game. He got out countered by Manny Pacquiao. Now that wasn't the best performance of Manny's career, simply because he had a really bad shoulder injury going into the fight. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the YTBC will dispute that. They made a lot of ridiculous videos about Manny Pacquiao faked the injury, even though there's a bunch of evidence that he was hurt. It's been confirmed by his sparring partners. It was confirmed by Thomas Hauser, who wrote a tremendous piece about the situation with Manny's shoulder, how he was denied a Toradol shot, pretty much confirming that he was hurt going into the fight. There's also footage of him going to the hospital, leaving the hospital. There's also an interview of the doctor that performed on him. He's a famous doctor who also performed the similar type of surgery to Kobe Bryant for his rotator cuff. It's just, people love to hate on Manny Pacquiao. The people that just, mostly Floyd Mayweather fans, they're gonna ride with him. If I guess it's impossible to be a fan of both. I kind of agree with that. I don't like Floyd. I don't hate Floyd, but I don't like him. People will say, oh, Mayweather will be appreciated 10, 15 years down the road. I really don't know. I really can't say that because I know the truth about Floyd Mayweather's career. He's a protected, cherry-picking diva who was protected by Al Heyman, who controls a lot of the B-sides Floyd Mayweather fought. So a lot of his victories are in question. There's a lot of corrupted bullshit in Floyd Mayweather's fights. It's happened in the past. You see it in the Cotto fight. The punch numbers were rigged. Same thing in the Pacquiao fight. He cherry-picked Victor Ortiz, who's a quitter. He fought Andre Berto when he could have fought Keith Thurman, who waited patiently as the mandatory challenger. He could have fought a non-Heyman fighter. I prefer Mayweather to fight a non-Heyman fighter who Heyman doesn't have control over. But, yeah, I mean, that's the only reason why that fight happened. Mayweather was forced by Les Moonves. But he needed everything on his advantage, even though Mayweather claims he wants an even playing field. But that wasn't the case against Mayweather Pacquiao. He needed Kenny Bayless as the ref. He needed Dave Moretti as the judge, and he also had knowledge of Manny Pacquiao's injury. As you could see it during the fight, he was pulling on his right arm in some of the rounds to try to re-injure it or make Manny feel more pain. But it is what it is. Mayweather got the decision. And ever since that fight, Mayweather's been praising Manny Pacquiao, showing a lot of respect, telling people that he is the best fighter in the world now that he's retired, warning Terrence Crawford that Manny Pacquiao is no easy work, giving him props like crazy. And then on the other side, Manny Pacquiao, he's giving Floyd Mayweather no props, and why should he? I mean, Mayweather didn't do shit in the fight. He landed mostly touch jabs the entire fight. The only hard punches he landed was in the first round. He landed those 2 hard right hands, and he never hit Manny that hard ever again throughout the whole fight. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about Manny. That he's definitely my favorite fighter of the 21st century. I was wowed the very first time I saw him back in 2001 when he destroyed Ledwaba, he was a late replacement opponent. Everyone thought going into the fight, all the top-ranked people thought Ledwaba was going to trash Manny, but Freddie Roach kept telling people, nah, my guy's going to destroy Ledwaba, and that's exactly what he did. I think that was his second world title at the time. I believe that was his second world title. And then he just kept having tremendous performances. Jorge Julio, the Marquez in the first round. He had deficiencies early in his career. He wasn't as fluid in his footwork. His right hook wasn't developed. He had a limited arsenal of punches. You watch Manny Pacquiao back in 03, 04, he was still a hell of a fighter, but even now, even to this day, even at the age of 37, in my opinion, he's better than ever. He's not as explosive as he used to be. Definitely not. He's not as his punch output has dropped. Definitely. But he's smarter than he's ever been before. He's a smarter fighter now than when he was having that great run from 2009, 2008 to 2010 when he was destroying bigger guys, beating the shit out of them, and he was shocking people. I mean, it became to a point that people were just upset that he was destroying Miguel Cotto and beat the crap out of Margarito. Now people will criticize, he hasn't had a knockout in years. That's not really true. He's been robbed of a couple of knockouts in the past 5 years. That Margarito fight should have been stopped, but Lawrence Cole's a terrible ref, and now Margarito has one eye, and now he's fighting in Mexico for whatever reason. Probably needs money. A good turnout of people are going to come, but he's going to be fighting with one eye. This is boxing. Of course, he's going to get a license in Mexico. I mean, it's not that hard to get license anywhere else in the world. It's hard in some places in the U.S., like New York, especially New York. It's very hard to get a license if something's wrong with your eye. But in Mexico, a lot of strings can be pulled. And also, Manny Pacquiao was robbed of a knockout against Chris Algieri. You can go back and watch the footage. When Manny Pacquiao drops Chris Algieri in the 9th round, Algieri got the benefit of a long count. Algieri was down for 10 seconds. It should have been a knockout. But he got the long count from another terrible ref, and the fight ended up continuing. But Chris Algieri was down for 10 seconds. That was actually a 9th round knockout. That's what it should have been. But what's crazy though, Manny Pacquiao has improved after every one of his losses. The transformation of his style began in the first Erik Morales fight. He's learned a lot from his losses, and he's became a better fighter because of it. He learned something in that first Morales fight. Morales was able to keep him at the end of his jab, and was able to. Also, the cut was a big factor in the fight. Manny was cut early in the fight, but Morales did a good job of keeping distance and keeping him at the end of his jab, and Manny ended up losing a close fight. But Manny adjusted. He learned what he did wrong. He knew what he needed to do in order to become a better fighter, and he did that. He created more traps with his footwork, more feints, more arsenal of punches. He just kept improving, and then after the knockout loss to Marquez, who was most likely juiced up like a motherfucker in that fight, he improved again. In my opinion, one of the best Manny Pacquiao performances of his career was against Brandon Rios, and Brandon Rios was in shape for that fight. He trained, he wasn't a dead man. He made the weight. He was also under a banned substance. He tested positive or something after that fight. But he was in shape for that fight. He came in on weight, and he wasn't heavy. He was around 158. Against Bradley, he was 170. He was a dead man again in that fight because he had so much trouble making the weight. Against Pacquiao, he was in shape. That was a better version. And Manny looked tremendous in that fight. The footwork, the angles, the constant turning and combinations. It looked like he looked like even a better fighter. It's just that his punch output has dropped, and maybe he's not as explosive as he used to be. And he showed it again in the rematch with Bradley. It was a different type of style he showed compared to the first fight. It was different, and Bradley admitted it too. He said that was a different Manny Pacquiao. That wasn't the guy I fought in 2012. And Manny Pacquiao's defense has improved. I mean, it's hard to hit the guy. I mean, his rhythm, it's very difficult to time him. It's very difficult to fight Manny because he's so unorthodox. He has a style that nobody fights like Manny Pacquiao. It's very hard. It's very difficult to prepare for him because nobody fights like him. The foot feints, the feints with his feet, the turning and the he has this awkward where he leans to the right and throws the left hand, and then he'll turn you and then hit you with another left hand. He did it to Mayweather in the 8th round. I mean, when have you seen Mayweather get hit with a two-piece back-to-back? That doesn't really happen that often. But he did it a few times in the fight. And Mayweather, he had trouble catching Manny Pacquiao. And he couldn't catch the dude. I mean, if you watch the fight closely, all of his jabs were either fell short or mostly hit his gloves. And now I'm watching the training of Manny. Now that he's preparing for the rubber match with Bradley, and he's looking good, man. He's looking very sharp. The footwork is nasty. He was playing around with the sparring partner he shared today, and he was mostly working on his right hands. He was throwing a lot of right hooks and pretty much probably testing out the shoulder, body shots. And the thing about Manny in sparring, he's totally different when he spars. He's not a bully in sparring. If you try knocking him out, he'll go hard. But if he knows that he's a levels above you, he'll work with you. He won't embarrass you. He'll work with you. He'll even let you hit him just to get a few shots off. But then he'll show you who's boss. That's just the way he is in sparring. He's not a bully. He works with his sparring partners. He doesn't go all out on them unless they try to knock him out. And that's what Freddie be doing. He be in past camps. He'll pay guys a couple G's, 1,000. Tell the sparring partners, yo, go after Manny, try to knock him out because I want him to get that. I want him to be menacing for the fight. But Manny's looking very good in training right now. To me, he's smarter than ever. He's better defensively. His footwork is amazing. It's beautiful to watch. He's still got the speed, and I don't know. I think his power is still there. His power is still there. Mayweather will tell you that he's got power. Bradley will tell you he's got power. And I saw an article about Margarito. It was by Ring TV. And they asked him who was the hardest puncher. And surprisingly, even though Margarito's been in there with bigger, stronger fighters, he said it was Manny Pacquiao. He hit the hardest out of everybody he fought. But to me, Manny Pacquiao is the young crown king. He won't get the recognition for Floyd Mayweather fans. That's fine. But, the people who are astute ring observers know the truth about Mayweather and Pacquiao. They know who's the better fighter, who is the best fighter truly of this era. It's cool. It's all good. Mayweather will get the recognition, but it's Pacquiao that will get the love from the people. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.